Dishonesty is one of the most destructive traits that can undermine any relationship, and it's a major red flag to watch out for. In the context of understanding female behavior through a Stoic lens, dishonesty isn't just about the occasional white lie. It's a pattern of concealing the truth or distorting reality to serve one's own interests. This behavior can manifest in subtle ways, such as exaggerating achievements or hiding failures, and over time, it erodes the foundation of trust that's essential for any meaningful connection. Imagine a scenario where a woman frequently tells stories about her past that seem too perfect. Yet when you ask for more details, the narrative starts to shift. At first, these stories might seem charming, but eventually, inconsistencies begin to appear. A man who values authenticity may start to feel a growing sense of unease as he notices that the details never quite add up. This pattern of dishonesty creates a constant undercurrent of doubt, making it difficult to fully trust or rely on her word. Consider another example, a situation where she promises openness and commitment in a relationship, but her actions tell a different story. She might assure you of her loyalty while secretly engaging in behaviors that suggest otherwise. Over time, these small deceptive actions accumulate, leaving you questioning the true nature of your connection. The Stoics believed that truth is essential for inner peace and personal virtue. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to align his actions with his values, and dishonesty is the antithesis of that alignment. When you encounter dishonesty, it not only compromises the relationship, but also your own sense of self-respect and clarity. A deeper, more personal impact of dishonesty is how it affects your growth. Every time you accept or overlook a lie, you allow an erosion of integrity into your life. The Stoic ideal is to live truthfully and to demand honesty as a form of respect for both yourself and others. When dishonesty creeps into a relationship, it distracts you from focusing on what truly matters, your own development and the cultivation of genuine, virtuous connections. Recognizing dishonesty early on enables you to set firm boundaries and prioritize relationships that are built on trust, rather than being drawn into a cycle of manipulation and uncertainty. In summary, dishonesty, whether it's embellishing your past, hiding your true self, or failing to align words with actions, is a serious weakness that can poison relationships over time. By applying Stoic principles, you learn to value truth above fleeting charm, and you can identify when a relationship is built on a shaky foundation. This awareness not only protects your inner peace, but also empowers you to seek out relationships that reflect the authentic, virtuous life you strive to lead. Emotional vulnerability is a quality that can leave someone deeply affected by criticism, rejection, or even minor setbacks, and it's important to understand how this trait can impact relationships. In many cases, when someone is emotionally vulnerable, they tend to overreact to perceived slights or let their insecurities drive their behavior, which can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or an imbalance in the relationship. This isn't about labeling or judging, it's about recognizing patterns so that you can navigate interactions with greater awareness and empathy. Consider a situation where a woman receives constructive feedback at work. Instead of viewing it as an opportunity for growth, she might take the feedback very personally and spiral into self-doubt. For instance, when a supervisor suggests improvements, rather than seeing it as a chance to excel, she might interpret it as a sign that she isn't good enough. This kind of deep emotional sensitivity can affect her confidence and how she interacts with colleagues, often requiring more reassurance than is typical. This reaction is a classic example of emotional vulnerability affecting professional and personal dynamics. Another example is during social interactions, such as at a gathering or a casual conversation. Imagine she makes a small joke, and instead of laughing along, she becomes overly self-conscious and assumes that everyone is judging her harshly. Even a minor remark can trigger a wave of insecurity, causing her to withdraw or overcompensate by seeking excessive validation. This response can create barriers in communication, as her heightened sensitivity might prevent her from engaging fully with others or sharing her true thoughts. A third instance can be seen in romantic relationships. When emotional vulnerability is at play, a woman might interpret a partner's neutral comment as a sign of disinterest or rejection, even if no such intention was present. For example, if a partner mentions being busy and unable to spend as much time together, she might feel deeply hurt and begin to question her self-worth, rather than understanding that the comment reflects external circumstances. This misinterpretation can lead to frequent conflicts or an ongoing need for reassurance, which can strain the relationship over time. Understanding emotional vulnerability through the lens of Stoicism means recognizing that while emotions are natural, they shouldn't dictate your sense of self or your reactions. The Stoics taught that maintaining inner resilience and balancing emotion with rational thought can help mitigate the intensity of these reactions. By observing these patterns in yourself and others, you can work towards a more measured response, where feedback is seen as an opportunity for growth rather than a personal attack, and where minor setbacks don't spiral into overwhelming self-doubt. In essence, recognizing and understanding emotional vulnerability is key to fostering healthier relationships. It allows you to develop greater empathy, set appropriate boundaries, and ultimately communicate more effectively. When you're aware of how deep emotional responses can impact interactions, you're better equipped to support those who are vulnerable and to create an environment where mutual respect and balanced communication can thrive. One of the most subtle yet impactful weaknesses to be aware of is the tendency to overthink and overanalyze every detail. This habit can lead to unnecessary anxiety, self-doubt, and misinterpretation of even the simplest interactions. Imagine receiving a short, casual text from someone and then spending hours replaying every word in your mind, wondering if there was a hidden meaning or if you said something wrong. Overthinking like this creates a cycle of worry that not only drains your energy, but also distorts your perception of reality. Consider a scenario where, after a pleasant conversation, you start obsessing over every nuance of what was said, analyzing the tone, the timing, and the possible implications. Instead of enjoying the moment, your mind spirals into what-if scenarios that never truly happened, turning what should be a simple interaction into a source of stress. This habit can make you doubt the sincerity of compliments or misinterpret neutral remarks as signs of rejection, ultimately eroding your confidence and creating barriers in your relationships. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful antidote to this tendency by teaching us to focus on what is within our control and to let go of the rest. When you overanalyze, you're often fixating on outcomes and interpretations that you have no power over. A Stoic approach would be to remind yourself that once a conversation is over, its details are beyond your influence. Instead of ruminating on what might have been, focus on the present moment and accept interactions as they were. This shift in perspective helps reduce anxiety and opens up space for more genuine experiences. Another effective strategy is to practice rational inquiry. When you catch yourself overthinking, pause and ask, what evidence do I really have for these fears? More often than not, you'll find that your concerns are based on assumptions rather than facts. For example, if you begin to worry that a partner's brief reply indicates disinterest, take a step back and consider alternative, more neutral explanations. This simple question helps ground your thoughts and prevents you from being swept away by unfounded fears. Lastly, journaling can serve as a practical tool to combat overthinking. Writing down your thoughts about an interaction can help separate the facts from your emotional responses. Over time, you may notice patterns in your overanalysis that you can address more directly. For instance, you might realize that you tend to overthink during periods of stress or when you're feeling insecure, prompting you to work on building your self-confidence and resilience. By applying these Stoic techniques, focusing on the present, questioning your assumptions, and keeping track of your thought patterns, you can break the cycle of overthinking. This not only reduces unnecessary stress, but also helps you form more genuine and fulfilling relationships, as you're no longer clouded by doubts and unfounded worries. Embrace the idea that not every detail requires scrutiny, and allow yourself to live more freely in the moment, confident in the knowledge that your worth isn't determined by the endless analysis of every interaction. Fear of criticism and rejection can be one of the most paralyzing forces in relationships, subtly influencing behavior and limiting true self-expression. Many women, due to past experiences or societal pressures, may develop a deep-seated fear that any form of criticism is a personal attack. This fear often leads to an unwillingness to take risks, speak candidly, or express opinions openly, as the potential for rejection seems too daunting to confront. Imagine a scenario where a woman hesitates to share her innovative ideas at work. Instead of contributing fully, she opts for safe, conventional responses, worrying that any deviation from the norm might lead to disapproval. This constant self-censorship not only stifles her creativity, but also prevents her from developing a robust sense of self-confidence. In personal relationships, this fear can manifest as a reluctance to open up emotionally, where she might hide her true feelings to avoid potential judgment. For instance, if she receives constructive feedback from a friend or partner, her instinct might be to internalize the criticism, questioning her self-worth rather than seeing it as an opportunity for growth. Another example could be seen in social interactions. When someone is overly concerned about how they are perceived, even a neutral comment might be interpreted as a negative judgment. A simple remark like, "I think you could do even better," might trigger anxiety and self-doubt instead of being viewed as encouragement. This heightened sensitivity creates a barrier that prevents genuine communication and connection, leading to isolation and missed opportunities for personal development. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful antidote to this debilitating fear. The Stoics taught that what others think is beyond our control, and true value comes from within, through our actions and adherence to virtue. When you focus on developing your own inner strength and aligning your actions with your values, criticism loses its sting. Instead of fearing rejection, you begin to see feedback as a necessary part of the journey towards self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that external opinions do not define his worth, and by internalizing this lesson, you can free yourself from the chains of constant self-doubt. Ultimately, by overcoming the fear of criticism and rejection, you open the door to authentic self-expression and meaningful relationships. This shift in perspective not only empowers you to take risks and innovate, but also helps you build resilience and self-confidence. When you learn to accept that not every comment is a judgment, and that every piece of criticism is an opportunity to learn, you transform that fear into a catalyst for growth. Embracing this Stoic approach allows you to move forward unencumbered by the worry of others' opinions, enabling you to lead a life that is both authentic and deeply fulfilling. Insecurity about appearance is a common struggle that can deeply affect self-esteem and behavior, especially in a society flooded with unrealistic beauty standards. Many women find themselves constantly comparing their features, body shapes, or overall look to the ideal images presented in the media. This internal battle often leads to self-doubt and a persistent feeling of inadequacy, regardless of their true worth or unique beauty. Consider a woman scrolling through social media who sees perfectly curated images of influencers. Despite her own accomplishments and personal style, she might start to believe that she doesn't measure up to these ideals. Every comparison, no matter how fleeting, chips away at her confidence. The constant bombardment of images that emphasize perfection can lead her to focus on perceived flaws rather than appreciating her individuality. This can result in a cycle of self-criticism where even minor imperfections are magnified, leaving her feeling trapped in a loop of negative self-talk. In another example, think of a woman preparing for an important event, like a job interview or a date. Instead of focusing on her strengths and skills, she might fixate on every detail of her appearance, her makeup, outfit, and hairstyle. The pressure to look flawless can become so overwhelming that she spends hours obsessing over her reflection, which ultimately undermines her confidence. This preoccupation with physical appearance distracts from showcasing her true capabilities and inner qualities, making it harder for her to feel genuinely confident in her own skin. A third scenario involves the impact of unsolicited comments from others. Imagine receiving a compliment that is quickly followed by a critical remark, even if it's offhand. For instance, a well-meaning friend might say, "You look great today, but have you ever thought about trying a different hairstyle?" Such comments, though intended to be helpful, can compound existing insecurities. They force her to question her appearance further, often leading her to worry about how others perceive her. Over time, this sensitivity to criticism becomes a significant barrier to embracing her natural beauty. Stoic philosophy offers a counterbalance to this pervasive insecurity. The Stoics believed in cultivating inner virtues, wisdom, courage, and self-discipline that are far more enduring than external appearances. By shifting the focus from how one looks to who one is, a woman can start to build a more resilient self-image. Instead of relying on external validation to feel good about herself, she can learn to appreciate her character, achievements, and the unique qualities that set her apart. This mindset not only helps combat the constant pressure to conform to idealized standards, but also fosters genuine self-confidence. When you recognize that your worth is defined by your inner virtues rather than your outward appearance, you begin to free yourself from the cycle of comparison. You learn to see flaws as part of your unique story and understand that true beauty is found in authenticity. This shift in perspective empowers you to navigate the world with greater assurance and focus on what truly matters, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling and balanced life. Journaling is a powerful tool for achieving mental clarity and aligning your actions with your values, and it plays a central role in Stoic practice. By writing down your thoughts each day, You create a space to reflect on your experiences, analyze your emotions, and track your personal growth. Imagine starting or ending your day by simply putting pen to paper. This act allows you to process complex emotions, recognize patterns in your behavior, and gain a deeper understanding of your inner world. For instance, after a challenging day, you might write about moments that triggered stress or frustration, then analyze what was within your control and what wasn't. This process not only clears your mind, but also reinforces the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can change. Consider another scenario where you set aside a few minutes every morning to jot down your intentions and goals for the day. By doing so, you create a mental roadmap that guides your actions and decisions. Over time, this habit can reveal trends. Perhaps you consistently feel more productive on days when you've outlined a clear plan, or you notice recurring challenges that you can address systematically. Journaling transforms abstract thoughts into concrete insights, turning daily experiences into lessons that help you grow. Moreover, journaling offers a safe space for self-reflection, free from external judgment. You can explore your successes and setbacks, writing honestly about what went well and what you could improve. For example, if you felt anxious during a meeting, writing about the event can help you identify specific triggers and develop strategies to manage similar situations in the future. This practice is not about dwelling on negative experiences, but about learning from them and cultivating resilience. By integrating journaling into your daily routine, you harness the power of reflection to maintain a focused and calm mind. It's a simple yet effective way to keep track of your progress, set clear priorities, and continuously align your actions with your deeper values. Over time, this habit not only sharpens your mental clarity, but also builds a stronger, more mindful version of yourself, one who can navigate the challenges of life with reason and grace. Many women struggle with assertiveness, and this challenge can impact every facet of their lives, from professional settings to personal relationships. This isn't about lacking opinions or being shy. It's often a deep-seated hesitation to express their true needs and boundaries for fear of conflict or rejection. Imagine a scenario in a team meeting. A woman has an innovative idea that could improve a project, yet she holds back because she worries that her colleagues might dismiss her suggestion. Her silence isn't a reflection of her lack of knowledge or creativity. It's the result of years of conditioning to avoid standing out and risking criticism. In this case, her struggle with assertiveness not only stifles her potential, but also deprives the team of valuable insights. This pattern can lead to long-term consequences, where her contributions go unrecognized and she gradually loses confidence in her own voice. Another example might be in a personal relationship. Consider a situation where a woman constantly agrees to plans or compromises her own desires just to keep the peace. Over time, this habit of avoiding confrontation might lead her partner to take her opinions for granted, creating an imbalance in the relationship. When she doesn't assert her needs, whether it's about spending quality time together or having her say in major decisions, the relationship can suffer from a lack of genuine communication and mutual respect. Her inability to voice what she truly feels or wants slowly erodes her self-esteem and prevents the relationship from growing authentically. A deeper example can be seen in social situations where peer pressure is at play. Picture a scenario where, during a gathering, she notices that her opinions or interests differ from the group's. Instead of confidently sharing her unique perspective, she might hold back, fearing she'll be judged or ostracized. Over time, This self-censorship leads her to blend into the background, losing touch with her individuality. The lack of assertiveness not only limits her personal growth, but also means she isn't living up to her full potential. Stoicism offers a pathway to overcoming this struggle. The Stoics believed that one of the most important virtues is to express oneself in alignment with one's true values. By cultivating self-reflection and practicing speaking with purpose, one can transform silence into assertive expression. Marcus Aurelius taught that clarity in thought and conviction in speech are vital. These qualities come from within when you commit to understanding your own worth. When a woman starts to practice these Stoic principles, taking time to reflect on her values, recognizing her right to be heard, and gradually challenging herself to speak up, she not only builds confidence, but also sets a standard for how she expects to be treated. Over time, embracing assertiveness becomes a habit. Small victories, like voicing an opinion in a meeting or gently setting boundaries in a relationship, add up. As she gains confidence, her interactions become more authentic, her relationships more balanced, and her overall sense of self-worth significantly improves. By recognizing the importance of assertiveness and taking steps to overcome the fear of expressing her true self, she can unlock a more empowered, fulfilling life. Dependency in relationships is a subtle yet significant weakness that can undermine the balance and growth of a partnership. When someone leans too heavily on their partner for emotional support, decision-making, or validation, it creates an unhealthy dynamic where personal autonomy is compromised. Imagine a scenario where a woman constantly needs reassurance. Every minor setback or perceived criticism sends her into a spiral of self-doubt because she relies solely on her partner to affirm her worth. This kind of dependency not only puts immense pressure on the relationship, but also prevents her from cultivating the inner strength that Stoicism values so highly. For example, consider a situation where a partner is always expected to be available for every emotional need. Instead of developing her own coping strategies or seeking diverse sources of support, she might text, call, or even demand constant attention whenever she feels insecure. This behavior can lead to an imbalance where the partner becomes overwhelmed and the dependent individual feels even more anxious when their needs aren't immediately met. Such dependency creates a cycle that stifles growth and breeds resentment over time. Another example might involve decision-making in everyday life. Imagine a woman who relies on her partner to make even the simplest choices: what to eat, where to go, or how to respond to everyday challenges. This not only diminishes her confidence, but also erodes her ability to function independently. When every decision is deferred to someone else, she loses touch with her own judgment and capabilities. The relationship then shifts from one of mutual support to one of undue burden, where the partner is forced to take on the role of a constant decision-maker, ultimately leading to frustration and dissatisfaction on both sides. A third example could be seen in social settings. Suppose she becomes so dependent on her partner for social validation that she feels lost without him. This might manifest as anxiety when he spends time with friends, or an inability to enjoy outings alone. The lack of personal independence in such scenarios not only limits her social growth, but also places an unfair strain on the relationship. Instead of being a source of strength for each other, both partners can feel stifled by the constant need for reassurance and validation. From a Stoic perspective, dependency in relationships is antithetical to the principle of self-reliance. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from within. By cultivating inner virtues and personal resilience, you become less reliant on external validation. Embracing self-sufficiency means acknowledging that while it's natural to seek connection, you should never rely on another person to complete you or define your worth. This approach not only empowers you to make decisions independently, but also fosters healthier, more balanced relationships where both individuals can thrive. By recognizing and addressing dependency, you open the door to greater personal growth. It allows you to set clear boundaries and nurture your own interests, ensuring that your self-worth is anchored in your inner virtues rather than in another person's approval. This shift in perspective not only creates a more fulfilling relationship, but also aligns perfectly with Stoic principles of self-discipline, resilience, and independent thought. In the end, developing a healthy balance between connection and independence is key to fostering lasting respect, trust, and mutual growth in any relationship. When it comes to balancing independence and intimacy, many women struggle with finding the right equilibrium between maintaining their individuality and fostering deep emotional connections. This challenge can lead to inner conflicts, where the desire for personal freedom clashes with the yearning for closeness and validation. Imagine a situation where a woman is excited about her career, hobbies, and personal interests, yet she also deeply craves a meaningful relationship. On one hand, she values her independence so much that she might sometimes withdraw emotionally to preserve her autonomy. On the other hand, when she lets her guard down, she might fear losing that essential sense of self, feeling as if intimacy means sacrificing the unique qualities that define her. For example, consider a woman who enjoys her solitary time reading, traveling, and pursuing creative projects. In her ideal world, these activities allow her to recharge and express her true self. However, when she enters a relationship, she finds herself constantly torn. She might hesitate to share her passion for solo adventures, worried that her partner will perceive her independence as a lack of commitment or emotional availability. This internal tug-of-war can create tension in the relationship, as her partner might misinterpret her need for space as disinterest or detachment. Another instance is during joint decision-making in a relationship. A woman who values her independence might insist on making decisions on her own, such as how she spends her leisure time or manages her finances, even when it comes to shared responsibilities. While this independence is admirable, it can sometimes hinder the development of intimacy if her partner feels excluded or unimportant in the decision-making process. The challenge here is finding a way to share parts of herself without feeling that she is giving up her individuality. A third example can be seen in how vulnerability plays out in intimate relationships. When a woman is too guarded in order to protect her independence, she may miss out on the opportunity to connect deeply with her partner. For instance, she might avoid discussing her dreams, fears, or past experiences, fearing that revealing too much could compromise her self-reliance. Yet, true intimacy is built on vulnerability, a mutual sharing of both strengths and weaknesses. Without this openness, the relationship can feel superficial, as the emotional distance becomes a barrier to genuine connection. The Stoic approach teaches that true strength comes from within, and that finding a balance between independence and intimacy is not about sacrificing one for the other, but about integrating both harmoniously. It's about recognizing that maintaining your individuality can actually enhance your ability to connect, as it allows you to bring your full, authentic self into a relationship. The key is self-awareness, understanding your own needs for space and connection, and communicating these clearly with your partner. When you strike this balance, you create a dynamic where both partners feel respected, valued, and free to be themselves. By focusing on personal growth and practicing self-discipline, you can learn to navigate this delicate balance. Embrace your independence as a strength and allow intimacy to enrich your life without diminishing who you are. Over time, with self-reflection and honest communication, you can overcome the struggle of balancing these two vital aspects, leading to relationships that are both deeply connected and individually fulfilling. A lack of self-awareness can be one of the most detrimental traits in any relationship, often causing recurring misunderstandings and unnecessary conflicts. When someone isn't aware of their own triggers, insecurities, and behaviors, they may unconsciously repeat patterns that negatively impact their interactions. For example, consider a situation where a woman reacts with intense anger or hurt to a casual remark. Without self-awareness, she might not realize that her overreaction stems from past experiences or deep-seated insecurities. Instead of recognizing that her feelings are a reflection of an unresolved issue, she may see the comment as a personal attack, leading to arguments that could have been avoided with a bit of introspection. Another example can be seen in social interactions. Imagine a scenario where she misinterprets a friendly gesture, a compliment, or a casual smile as something more negative. Without understanding her own internal biases, she might assume there's an underlying sarcasm or disapproval, even when none exists. This misinterpretation not only creates distance, but also erodes trust, as her inability to see situations clearly prevents genuine communication. Over time, such misunderstandings can lead to a cycle of defensiveness and isolation, hindering the development of deep, meaningful relationships. A third example involves recurring behavior in both personal and professional settings. A woman who lacks self-awareness may find herself repeatedly facing the same challenges, like underestimating her abilities or downplaying her achievements, without understanding why. For instance, she might consistently avoid taking on leadership roles because she believes she isn't capable, not realizing that this belief is rooted in a lack of self-reflection and an inability to recognize her strengths. This pattern not only limits her growth, but also affects how others perceive her, potentially leading to missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and continuous self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers urged individuals to examine their thoughts and behaviors regularly, recognizing that true wisdom comes from understanding oneself. By embracing practices like journaling, meditation, or even candid conversations with trusted friends, you can begin to uncover these hidden patterns. With increased self-awareness, you learn to respond to situations with rationality rather than impulsivity. This not only leads to more harmonious relationships, but also fosters personal growth and inner peace. Ultimately, cultivating self-awareness is about taking control of your own narrative. It means recognizing that your reactions and behaviors are within your control, and that by understanding yourself better, you can break free from negative cycles. In doing so, you not only improve your relationships, but also build a foundation for a more fulfilling, balanced, and authentic life.